Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a chocolate cake with a cream cheese frosting and toasted coconut. Let's start with the ingredients. You're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, half teaspoon salt, 2 cups sugar, 1 stick of unsalted butter, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, regular or dark, a half cup of vegetable oil, 1 cup of water, 3 eggs, and a half cup of buttermilk or a half cup milk with 1 teaspoon vinegar, and finally 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. This cake recipe is a little bit different than other cake recipes, so follow along. First, you sift all the dry ingredients, and that includes the sugar. It's going to get all the lumps out and aerate the flour. Next, you're going to mix the eggs, milk, and vanilla, and those ingredients should be room temperature. On the stove, you're going to boil the cocoa with water. So you start by melting the butter, adding the cocoa, the oil, and the water, and you're going to bring that all to a boil and boil it for about 1 minute. This process of boiling the chocolate in the water is called blooming the chocolate. It's supposed to help with the flavor. After you've boiled the cocoa, pour that whole mixture into the dry ingredients right on top. I started with the spatula, mixing it so that everything gets wet. After the mixture is wet and it's cooled off a little bit, you can then add in the eggs and milk. Switch over to using a whisk, and then you want to whisk this until it's completely smooth. Now that mixture is smooth, that's the cake batter. You're ready to bake the cake. So you want to preheat your oven to 350 and then spray a 9x13 pyrex or baking pan. Pour the batter into the pan, and this gets baked for 35 to 45 minutes. Use the toothpick test to see if it's done, and then remove it from the oven to cool. Next up, we're going to make a cream cheese frosting. This is a thick frosting. The ingredients for that are 1 stick butter, 8-ounce cream cheese, 1 teaspoon vanilla, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 4 cups of confectioner's sugar, and 1 bag of coconut flakes. The coconut flakes don't actually go into the frosting. There's something that's optional. You can put them on top of the cake or use sprinkles if you want. Start by whisking the butter and the cream cheese together in the stand mixer using the whisk attachment. Then add a little bit of the confectioner's sugar, mix it in, add the vanilla, mix it in. At this point, you want to scrape down the bowl and continue mixing. And here I'm adding the last of the powdered sugar. Again, this does make a very thick frosting. I'm just going to whisk this icing until it is completely smooth and all the lumps are out, making sure that you're scraping down the beater, the bowl, underneath. Now that the frosting is done, I'm going to take it off of the stand mixer, give the bowl one final scrape, and it's ready to be applied to the cake. Pour the frosting onto the cooled cake, and using a spatula, make sure that you're spreading it evenly all around the edges, the corners, and of course across the top. I choose to serve this out of the Pyrex pan. If you did want to serve this cake in on another platter or something like that, you can use parchment paper in the pan so that you can take the cake out later. I just choose to serve it in the Pyrex pan. I think it's the easiest way. And now we're going to work on our finishing touch to the cake, which is our toasted coconut. I buy the sweetened coconut flakes and I do it on a skillet on the stove at about medium heat. Pour 2 cups of the coconut into the pan. Use the spatula. Make sure you're constantly stirring. It will eventually start to brown. You don't want to make it all brown throughout. I like to brown it until I start seeing a little bit of smoke, and then I will pull it from the eye. It does give it a really delicious flavor. I'd hate to do this without toasting the coconut first. And here's a close-up on the coconut. You can see some of them are toasted really well. Some of them are still white. That's what I like to use. I take it right out of the skillet, put it into a bowl, let it cool for a couple minutes, and then you're ready to sprinkle that coconut all over the top of the cake. I do like to do it generously. You could also decorate this cake with chocolate sprinkles, colored sprinkles. You could use candies, or you could use chocolate shavings. You could also use this as a birthday cake. This is the cake recipe. When somebody says, I want a chocolate cake, this is the recipe to use. Please like and subscribe to my channel, CookBakeLearn on YouTube. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy.